Good to be home, I guess. Hey, what's up? Hey friend, we're the device for you. That tall building on the other side of town, the one with the blue lights near the wall? Don't go in that building. Shit, probably don't even want to go near that building. The last place like this I was at, this building would sometimes show up there that was just exactly like that. I mean, exactly, same windows and blue lights, and greasy alley behind the restaurant smell and everything. That blue light tripped me out, so I broke into the place one night. I don't know why. Because I was younger and dumber, I guess. I just liked walking around in places, and I'm like, philosophically opposed to locked doors. So I go in, and start walking around in there. And it's the usual stuff mostly. Empty out office floors and old style manor floors, and refrigeration floors and all that kind of stuff. But then I get to this floor, and the door in the stairwell is nailed shut with boards and everything. So I'm like, well okay, now I have to go in there. And I break down the boards and get the door open, and I'm in there. And it's your typical exposed wood, pink insulation, unfinished basement type floor, only the lights don't work and the whole space is full of these big box shapes that are like metal and glass, and they're dimly lit from the inside, like the way a car roof light looks. Turns out they're cages, or like aquariums, and there's people in them, only like if you took all the bones out and hung them up in a closet. That's how they look. Just hanging in those things. Soft mouths all opening and closing, but not making any noise. Or maybe they were, and the cage things were soundproof. I don't know. So immediately, I'm thinking this is like a sex thing, and these are all just a bunch of rich pervs getting up to it. But then I look close at the aquarium of this one, and its face is all wet and mucousy, and it looks fresher than the others do. And the inside of one of the walls of the aquarium is crisscrossed with these greasy trails, like the thing in there has been slapping away at the wall with his hand. I don't think it wanted to be in there at all. I sure as shit didn't after that. Grossed me out. Could barely keep food down for 2 days. What a joke. Bloody hell. How did... Questions for later, I guess. Sucks that this place is closed. I wonder when it will reopen again. Anyways, hey, nice to see you again. Got anything good? Oh good, you're back. I was just thinking about what you asked me yesterday and... Oh, wait. No, you're not them, are you? You're someone different? Sorry, I mistook you. It's hard to see. Do you want to hear what I was going to say anyway? I was going to tell you about this cul-de-sac I used to visit. The road only went so far as the end of the cul-de-sac, and then stopped. Which is to say, there were no inroads. It was just there, out in the middle of some huge expanse of nothing. The only way you could get there was to dream about it, or to have a doctor induce it with some chemical or other. You think you're alone there, no matter how many other people are with you. You can't see or hear them, and whatever they do there, it doesn't affect you. So this cul-de-sac, it's very Midwestern suburban, plain drab little middle class houses. They're always dark and empty, but the nice thing is, if you go there and you wait long enough, one or two of those houses' front doors are going to open, and then you can just walk in. The houses are more interesting on the inside than the outside, which I guess is true of all houses. They'd be different every time, although the layouts would be mostly unchanged. I remember going into one of the houses once, and all of the carpets were torn up, and the walls unpainted, as though the house were still under construction. I went up to the top floor of the house, and went to the master bedroom, which was full of these wire mesh cages full of grasshoppers, the big dark gray ones, all angry and banging around, trying to get out. There were 3 windows in that room. 2 of them looked out onto the cul-de-sac, but one of them looked out over this long dark tunnel, where each time you'd look, you'd see a distant figure start rushing towards you, loping with his 2 long limbs and face. You'd wake up before it got to you, like you were just ejected or something. I was always curious to see the figure. I wanted to wait until it got right up to the glass, but the house was never like that again after the time it was like that for me. Are you sure you actually experienced this with your very own eyes? It kind of sounds like you played a Roblox game, low-key. That was a bit cringe, sorry. Usually there's always something playing, so a few doors here can be opened. Queen of Knives 3, City of Flesh. Airbud 7, Bloodsport. Have to get that one to watch soon. Oh hey, it's you. You feeling okay from last time? Do you know what this place is missing? A hotel. You may laugh, but I'm telling you, when I was younger, everywhere that was anywhere had a hotel. I was lucky enough to grow up just an hour outside of a city with a hotel. My papa and I, and then later my dates and I, used to go into the city together by rail and make an evening of it, like everyone else who was young or in love, or both. It was so exciting being there, all crowded into the lobby with dozens and dozens of other hopefuls, the murmur and the energy. Sometimes you'd meet people who had been before, and they'd tell you some of their experiences, and sometimes you'd meet people who'd never been, and you'd tell them some of yours. There was a real sense of brotherhood to it, a shared wonder that brought you together. And when the person at the front desk would appear and announce that a new room had been born, and cleaned, and was ready, oh, you should have been there. Instant quiet, excited silence, until that desk person called out the numbers. Getting to be the first to visit a newborn room was like winning the lottery. You felt like a pioneer. Yeah, so you heard stories. Well, I heard them too. And you know something? Most of them are true. Yes, there were rooms that would pull the skin right off your bones. Yes, there were rooms that snapped you and ground you up. There were rooms with floor made of spider skin and walls made of wasp bone, where everything stank and buzzed and howled, and you'd come back out broken or not at all. They weren't even all that rare, but it was worth it. You don't believe me, but it was worth the chance to get to be the first to enter a newborn room. Because there was always the chance you'd be the one to find the room. The grand and final room. The one where the hotel's heart and mind and eyes and soul were. You'd get to be the one to sink your knife into its brain and kill the hotel for good and all, and the city will remember you forever. It was a long shot, a pie in the sky kind of dream, but if you don't chase those kind of dreams, then what's the point? Then they went and developed that chemical and just poisoned them all. Cured, they said. The problem of all hotel infestations solved forever. Well, they solved the problem of a whole national pastime in the process. The bastards. Damn shame, ask me. Before I head off, I think it'd be best to talk with one more homie. This guy, I mean. Where do you come from? Sorry, that's maybe a little personal. I ask because you don't look like the rest of us, but also because I was going to ask if it had any basements. Where you come from, I mean. Like the town or the city. Basements fascinate me. They're like the ocean, you know? So depthless and unfathomable. And they're just right there under our feet, going down who knows how far. I don't know how anyone can walk past one of those stairways without being just absolutely desperate to go down and see where it leads. I did just exactly that one time. I remember I was going home one night, only I didn't want to go home because my apartment was dying and in a lot of pain, so I was lashing out. So I passed by this basement staircase next to a storm drain in the street I'm on, and I just go down, not really caring what happens to me. It was the most wonderful thing I ever experienced. I remember feeling like the staircase was chewing me up, like I was being twisted and turned all around. And the stairs would end, and I would come out at these places that are just so hard to describe. There was this one... Okay, so like, imagine the inside of a chemical plant, only it's also like a sewer. Everything all concrete and damp. Machines and pipes all over. And it's this big space, like a warehouse almost, or... I don't know, a submarine bunker. And in the middle of the space there are these 3 huge holes in the ground, maybe 50 feet across. They're vats, right? And I looked over the edge of one and down maybe 20 or 30 feet. You can see that it's just full of wet autumn leaves, being churned and stirred by something underneath them. The smell of dirt and wet leaves just hit me full in the face, nearly knocked me back, it was so strong. I remember I tried to get a picture of it and dropped my cell phone down in it. And when it fell, these deafening alarms started going off, and the whole area filled with red lights. I ran like hell. The staircase leading back up had changed to lead down instead, but I took it because what are you gonna do? I don't remember where it led me though. Here, I guess, in a roundabout way. Poor man. Lost his phone. Honestly, I would actually be sick to my stomach if that were ever happened to me. Hey, did I talk to you before? It's not so bad here, really, it's not. What I mean is, there are worse places we could have ended up. And while yes, I understand that the fact that it could be worse doesn't mean it's okay. I think it's important to try and look at things positively, right? Perspective. Honestly, for me, this is an improvement. I don't know where you come from, but I grew up in an industrial town. The factory was the nucleus of the town, where all the jobs were, the main source of income. It manufactured vehicle parts, mostly cardiovascular and endocrine. Not exactly rocket science, very blue collar. The whole town tasted like smoke, because it was just caked all over everything. The sots and grime. There's so much awful stuff you have to put up with growing up in an industrial town. The people never smile because their work takes that out of them. So it feels so unwelcoming, even if you were born and raised there. Sometimes the factory would sicken and close down, and then you'd wake up and all the streets downtown would be flooded with blood that had congealed overnight. And you can imagine how that smells. Just the smells in general were enough to make you want to be anywhere else. Downtown at nights, it was just bars and bars and bars. Brick buildings and neon signs, and open pub doors pouring out noise. All the factory workers would go there and just get liquored up, watching the dollhouse broadcast on repeat, shouting accusations at each other over every little thing. It's just a done thing in those towns, how you unwind. Then everyone drags themselves home at night, crawls into bed, wakes up, and does it again the next day. They'll try to fill your ears with notions of honest work, but that's no kind of life, is it? None of them seemed happy, so I don't know. At least here you don't wake up with streets full of clotted blood. Such hard-hitting facts that I didn't really expect to hear. Anyways, I'm tired. Let's go take that nap, shall we? Hey, you scared? If you're scared, I understand. But don't worry. The people here, they're friendly, so relax. My head hurts. I must have fallen. I feel split apart. My shoulders feel soft. Go and get a towel from the hall closet so I can clean myself off. God, there's blood everywhere. I must have fallen. Or she pushed me. I'll bet that's just what happened. She's just like that, the little harlot. Help me back into bed. Never mind. Don't clean it, just leave it. The floor will drink it. Just get me back into bed. Point me toward the window. I want to watch the sunset behind the tower. The view used to be so much clearer when I was young. You would understand. This is the only world you know. But when I was young, you could look out across the fields, over the heaving, fleshy backs of the worms beneath the soil, and their film would glisten in the sunlight for miles and miles. It looked like they were staring out at the ocean. It was so bright and shimmering. My bed is wet around my neck. I can feel my brains leaking out of my skull. Catch them for me. Tape me up. Close the door and lock it. I don't want her getting in here again. I want to look at the tower. It must be broadcasting. You can tell because if you look very closely, you see it vibrates and hum. It's subtle, but it's there. Or are my eyes more sensitive than yours? Pull them out then. If you're so envious, I don't care. I don't need them anymore. Not if that's how you're going to be. Sheesh, calm down. Didn't mean anything by it. Despite the stench, you have to agree, there is a sort of, I don't know, comforting silence to the sewers. Am I wrong? Ah, sewer rat number 2. What do you have to explain? Do you remember? I remember. I remember some things. I don't remember it at all. God, it's like it got cut out, you know? I remember there were nails, and they cut my feet when I walked. Ribbons of skin trailing me, flapping and laughing, and skittering and collecting ashes. I remember his eyes, so wide, all those rotten teeth. So many teeth, rows and rows. I don't remember why I needed them. I don't remember. Can you tell me anything? I'd like to remember. There's this feeling in my palms, like there's things in there, crickets or termites, and they're swimming in my muscle and chewing up my memories. And I dig them out, but what did they do wrong? That's just what they do. It's only natural. I feel dizzy and my head hurts. Maybe I'm hungover. I drank so much of the stream, with my head held under. I had to drink. I was thirsty and afraid, and my feet kept hitting the concrete until they felt soft and painful. And what? I think I was laughing, but I can't remember. Fuck, I can't remember anything. Can't you help me? I wish, but I'm sorry. Oh hey, what's up, neighbor? Something on your mind? I really can't stand taking the subway anymore. I know, I get it, it's free and it's fast, and it's convenient, and we have to support them or they'll die off. I guess it's more the stations I hate, or the platforms or whatever you'd call them. I hate sitting down there waiting, just sitting in pitch dark, except for those emergency lights that kind of jitter if you look right at them. And what's with those shapes moving around in the dark? What are those even supposed to be? Hanging people? Hands? I don't know. Never been touched by one, so small mercies I guess. But they still just make me angry. I shouldn't have to put up with that just to get from A to B. I at least wish they'd lift the noise law so I can listen to some music or something. Having to stay dead quiet makes everything so boring. I feel like I'm in a boarding school or something, having to sit up straight and not make a sound and just listen to dark figures mill around. Oh shit, have you ever tried to walk a subway tunnel before the trains come? Or after it's just left? That's a trip. You never get where you're going, obviously, but that's not the point. You feel something. I don't know if it's bad or good, but you sure as hell feel it. The tunnels, they sort of shiver, like the train's touch woke something up in them. If you go far enough, you'll start hearing noises from both directions, like distant screaming arguments, or old sad music, or the city's organs working if it's not too long after the dinner hour. I think I'd recommend it. It's worth doing once. Might take a friend along with you, and a real long piece of string or something. Do the whole Ariande thing, just so you don't spend hours stumbling your way back out. There's a chance that train will come, but whatever. You get smashed into a fine mist, you'll just come back tomorrow. Might leave anything fragile at home though. Your lockets or your necklaces, those treasured keepsakes. Can't get those back. Those, the subway tunnels, take and keep. I'll remember that for next time. Anyways, I'm tired. Let's go to bed. Yo, still here? That means a lot to me. Why not stick around? I'll be here from time to time, so watch out for me, will ya? Arigato gozaimasu.